Good morning, Quirky Birders. It's Lynn here, and welcome to Blue Monday. I thought we need to combat those Blue Monday blues, and what better way than to paint this really cute little teddy bear design, and I do hope he goes a little way to banishing those Blue Monday blues for today. Now, it's been a long time since we've actually done a video like this, and it's actually really nice to be back recording something like this. So without further ado, let's get started and let's settle into painting our little teddy bear. Now, the line drawing for this bear is actually available on my Facebook page, so you'll be able to download the image for you to be able to trace your little bear. And I've done exactly that. I've redrawn my bear, and I've got him here on my paper. I'm just going to start with the painting, and it's very, very light. We're not going to do anything really sort of blocked or heavy. And I'm going to make a start by using a little bit of brown mixed with a little bit of yellow ochre, because I just want it to be a nice soft colour. I don't want anything too harsh at all. So I just want something really nice and pale, and then we can move on and build the colour up from there. So I'm going to start with the top of his head, and I'm going to start with the ears and the top of the head, and I'm just going to apply the colour along the top of the head. We'll come around the ears. I'm not going to paint all of the ears. I'm going to let the white of the paper provide me with those little highlights. And I also want the paint to sort of pool and sit a little bit heavier in places, which is just going to help me with the shading of our little bear. And I want there to be areas of contrast. I want there to be areas where I've got a little bit of light and also darker colours as well. So I'm going to come around his nose. I'm not applying too much paint. I'm actually keeping it very, very light with the paint application. I don't want anything harsh there at all. Now, if you've got any of those lines forming, then you know that you can manipulate those just using a wet brush, just so you get really nice soft shading. Now, of course, you don't have to do your bear brown. You can change the colour of your bear. So I'll just pop in his arms. And then you've got a line for his tummy, so we'll come around that line. His little bottom. Now we'll be painting our little bear a couple of times. So this layer of paint is pretty much the underpainting, and we're going to be building that colour and shading as we go. Just going to lift off some of that excess there. It's a little bit heavy. Come around under his neck. And I'm going to use the white of the paper to give me some highlights across his tummy. Okay, so we'll just let that first layer of paint dry, and then we'll do a little bit more of the over painting. But while that's dry, let's give him a little bouquet of roses that he's holding. So these are very, very simple. Now I'm not going to change my brush for this. I'm still using my size 4 brush. If you're wanting to change your brush to something a little bit smaller, then please do so. But I'm just going to use the tip of my size 4 brush. And we'll just give him a couple of little roses. So to do your roses, all you're going to do is 2 little, almost like letter C's, a pair of closed brackets almost. And then we'll pop a little cup underneath. And we'll just do a couple of those. So we'll do another one up here. So it's just literally just a letter C. And then we'll do a little cup underneath. And then we can have one that's a little bit more full. So let's do, again, still start with the letter C's, but then let's add another couple more, just to make it a little bit wider, a little bit fuller. Now again, we should be coming back to these and adding a little bit more detail in, but what we can still do is we can pop in the stems. I'm going to bring a stem down there. And you could bring them out to the side if you wanted to. We could make them nice and long and you could cross them across his back. Pop a couple of little leaves on there. And then again, we can just let that dry before we just overpaint them again and pop a little bit more definition in there. So he's just got his little bouquet of roses. So we'll come back to our little bear. And we're still going to use that brown and ochre mix of colour. Only this time we're just going to put a little bit more colour in there. So we're going to do a little bit of darker detail across the top of his head. Over his ears. We'll come around onto his chin. Again, I'm still being quite light because I want those highlights to show through. Don't be too heavy-handed and just be a little bit patient in how you build the colour up. Add a little bit more colour to his arm. He is beginning to look quite squishy and cute. I'll just emphasise that line around his tummy. Okay. Just remember to look away from your work, look up from your work, and to see if there's any areas that you need to just apply just that little bit more colour. So I'm just going to make this area a little bit darker. Nothing too heavy, just a little bit darker. Just take that colour up more to the top. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a little bit of pink. And I've got a little bit of pink already mixed in my palette. And I'm just going to put a splash of pink into his ears. You could put a little bit of pink on his nose if you wanted to. I'll bring some through his belly actually, that'd be quite nice. There we go. And then the last little bit is we can just add a little bit more depth of colour to our little roses. So I'm going to start with the green. And I'm going to just pop a little bit more detail onto the leaves, just on the tips, nothing too, I'm going to completely overpaint the leaves. And then we can use a little bit of that green just to come down the stems again, just to add a little bit more definition. And then the final little bit, we can just use some of the red. So again, I'm not going to completely overpaint the roses, just going to pop a little bit of extra colour on the tips of the petals. So that's our little bear painted, and he's been painted really quite lightly and quite delicately. So to be fair, we can probably go straight in and just do the ink outline details there. So ink pen wise, he's quite a sizable little bear. He's a chubby little bear. So you could probably go with something like a 0.7. You could use your 0.5, or you could be quite sort of illustrative in how you do your outline and actually do your do it all with a 0.7. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of wake his face up a bit, and I'm just going to give him a little bit of the facial features that we need in our little bear. So, using your pen, I'm just being careful because he may still be a little bit damp. So I'm just going to pop in the oval shape of his eyes. So he's got two little eyes. And then again, I'm going to want to have some of the white of the paper on show. So I'm just going to use the white of the paper just to create one or two little highlights. And then we're just going to pop his little eyes in there. We can then do his nose. So we'll come around his nose. We'll do that a couple of times. And then we can just scratch some little lines across his nose. Now that is bleeding into the pink, and that's fine. That's made quite a nice effect on his little nose. So now we're going to come round and do the outline. And for the outline, you're going to be quite sketchy and quite loose. And all you're going to do is come around a couple of times around your little bear. So we've got a double outline on our little bear. And then for the third outline, you can then put some little peaks wisps of hair and come around the tops of his ears. And come down by the side of his cheek. And some eyebrows. Pop his nose in. Let's give him a bit of stitching down the front of his face. There we go. He's got quite a cute little face now. I'll pop his tops of his ears in. And then we'll repeat the process and come around, like you say, a couple of times around the body of your bear. Come around the bum. And then to his legs. Oops. We can put some little wispy bits in around those lines so we can come down. Down the side. And come over his feet. Pop a little bit of the stitching down the front of his legs and the same in his tummy. Now when it comes to the little flowers, all you're going to do for your little flowers is a little spiral on top and then your little cup. And then you can pop your stem in. We'll come around the leaf. Now at this point you could actually add a little tag if you wanted to. The previous example did have a little tag on there. It could be that you change what your little bear's holding. Your little bear could hold a little balloon. He could have a bit of cake. He could be doing all sorts of different things. So it's entirely up to you how you change your little bear. So I'll just put him on a little bit of a floor and then we can just sign our little bear. And there we have it. One very cute and very versatile little illustration of a teddy bear. I do hope you have fun painting these. They are great fun to do. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy using them on different cards or gift tags or whatever it is that you would like to use your little bears for. But ultimately, have some fun, take some time out for you and just banish those Blue Monday blues. Do take care and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.